My name is Mark the Canardian, and this is Holocron Chronicles episode 67. We've executed episode 66.
Oh, I can't believe I'm so sorry I missed it. Hello, everybody. Charlie here. My work schedule prevented myself being here. You know, we would generally record this on Mondays, and usually Tuesday through Thursdays, I'm on the road away from home. So I don't take my whole studio with me in the back of my shiny new car, even though I almost could.
Right.
But yeah, no, when Mark's not able to do it, we're very fortunate having a guest that can come in and talk about something. But I'm glad to be back. But
yeah.
Anyway, Mark, I don't want to steal your thunder. I know you have a lot to say, so please.
Hey, that's great. That's that we missed you for sure, and especially for a video game episode. I think like that's kind of if you're gonna miss one, that's video games are not your wheelhouse.
if I'm to miss, I won't be to missed.
Right. And, we still miss you, but if it's a video game episode, that's probably the best one for you to miss. Even though I know, you like those games, you like the cutscenes, you were versed in it, you were ready to talk about it. But we definitely, we missed you. Your Force Ghost Charlie was still in the video. I made sure you were there, and but we're happy to have you back. However, if anyone's watching or listening by now, you've realized that we don't have a guest this week. And if you've seen timestamps, I'm sure this is very much shorter than a usual episode. And that is because we had a guest lined up and we had a topic lined up, and the actors and writers strike is going on right now. And I don't want to speak for you, Charlie, but I think it's safe to say that neither of us before today were very well versed with how that affected us.
I wouldn't say so. No, I mean, over on SFU Prime, we have been talking since the writer strike has been going on.
Yeah.
That's 80 days, so almost 3 months. This has been going. We talk about every single week. We talk about our commitment, our solidarity, as much as it means as we as ordinary citizens supporting them with our, I don't want to say thoughts and prayers because I'm not a thoughts and prayers kind of guy, but how we feel for how these people are fighting for their livelihood and how they will not let the changings of technology, streaming rights, residuals, an extra. I was listening to the Weekly Planet today, which is a podcast that both Mark and I really enjoy out of Australia, talking about an extra going in and having their face scanned and having it being used in perpetuity for the rest of their lives, and then they're not being compensated for it. That kind of stuff has to stop. There is no
wanted to reach, right?
Yeah, there is no equity without equality for all of these people. It would just be like, Mark, if you or I went into our jobs and they wanted us to, well, we'll pay you for 4 days out of 5. You're going to pay us back, or we know, it's not work, it's not a job if you're not being compensated. So yeah, we've been talking about that for quite some time. But yeah, you're right. Since the writers went on strike, and that was last week Friday, if I'm not mistaken, it was late last week.
The actors.
Yeah, the actors, excuse me. Yes, led by the nanny herself, Fran Drescher, which is just crazy. I talked about it on SFU, which if you're listening to this on Wednesday, you may have heard that when it came out on Tuesday. The last time the writers and the actors were on strike together, it was in 1960, at which point their union president was Ronald Reagan, which just blows my mind.
Right. Yeah, it's just before he was.
Yeah, and then Todd promptly said, well, we can look forward to President Fran Drescher someday. And I said, I just don't know about that. But you never know.
I think you guys have had worse presidents than Fran Drescher could.
We don't. We can't even get into that box of snakes. It ain't happening.
She might do some stuff. Who knows? She might do that. You know what? I've watched a couple of her SAG speeches and her speeches going with this strike, and I was like, wow, it's weird to hear like the nanny be very, very forceful and direct and leading that kind of power charge with a group. It was a very different side of Fran Drescher that I was not used to seeing, but very much appreciated. All that being said, for you guys have covered. We haven't really mentioned it on this show, And it's something that, to me, like we plan out this show in some respects quite a lot in advance, just because we know what's coming up. We know when, as soon as we hear that a certain show or a certain movie or something is coming out that we want to cover, we kind of know that date, and we'll plan out, if you've listened to the show or watched the show, that we plan out, like, usually a few weeks ahead. Here's some essential things to watch or read or listen to or do or whatever before that show or movie comes out. If it's going to feature, especially if it's going to feature returning characters, here's our favorite stuff to watch. And that's exactly what we had planned out.
Yeah.
For this week and for the next couple of weeks leading up to Ahsoka, we had planned out like the essentials to watch for this character, that character, this, Rebels, etc. And that was kind of the plan, leading right into that show being launched.
Right.
And the guest that we had lined up today, I'll just shout out directly, Ali Graz. We've had on a few times.
Such a great gal. I stay in touch with her. We talk quite a bit.
Yeah, and very much, a person whose opinion that I value. And when she speaks, I'm going to listen. And she just kind of said, love being on the show, love the ideas. It's, but she was seeing some things and reading some things, which she shared. And then I kind of shared with the group, not just you, but like Secret Friends Unite overall.
Yeah. We have an overall brain trust of the 5 or 6 of us that are the core group, not only of our 4 regular shows, but also of a lot of our Patreon stuff to talk about. Missy, Jen Watson, Kay, obviously the 3 of us, Peter, who you also see over on Code 47. So we all chimed in. And what's funny is I was on the road almost all day today. So my catching up when I got home at like 5:30, I'm like flipping, because what's nice about my car is that we do have a no distracted driver rule here now in Michigan where I live, and I have a new car. So I tuck my phone in, and the only pings I get are from text messages, not from Facebook Messenger, which is where we all talk. So that, which is good because that does keep me safe driving on the road. But man, there was a lot that was said, and it was digging really deep, and kind of turning issues over and over and over again, because clearly there are some things that are laid out that are restricting these actors from being able to promote things that are in the can that are being released by union rules. Understandably so, because they don't want to do anything that is going to adversely affect their own bargaining position from a business standpoint. And in so much as, and again, this was the issue that we turned over and over and over again, where do we fit in? We're content creators. The majority of our content is free, but we also do have paid content. But the only people that get paid are the core group of us, Mark and Todd and myself, or other folks are just generous contributors. So we turned it over and over and over again, but we wanted all of our people to have a voice. And so that's why there was this great discussion.
And I mean, I'll clarify that by when you say we get paid,
so to speak.
I'll be upfront and honest with anyone listening, and especially with our Patreon supporters. So we appreciate every cent that comes in through Patreon, but it's not like we're retiring. Most of what we've seen and will see so far is covering stuff like the website hosting cost, which costs us, a decent amount of money every single year to own the domain of secretfriendsunite.com. We have to renew that, and we have to pay for website hosting fees and all that kind of stuff. And then put money away, like in case something like Zencaster charges us money or continues to break and we have to actually pay for something there. Discord servers if we wanted to do Nitro and that kind of stuff. It's paying for all of this stuff.
So TLDR, we still have day jobs.
Exactly. So even with that, because that's one of the things that was brought up in this group chat was like, for influencers, for content creators, for cosplayers, all this kind of stuff was, where does the line where is the line drawn between like, are you being compensated for this? Are you a professional? Are you a fan? Are you an influencer? Are you this? Are you that? And we started, in that group chat getting into like numbers and stuff. And we have a decent amount of listeners, but like none of us are like doing that, 10K, 20K followers kind of thing on Instagram.
Yes. None of us are the big Instagram, TikTok stars that I'm sure we all wish that we could be.
Right. Yeah. So like, it was a weird kind of conversation, but basically to get back to what Ali said, it was that kind of line. Do we want to cross that figurative picket line, or do we want to kind of stand behind these actors and writers who make this stuff? And for this show anyway, and you'll hear about the plans on other SFU podcasts as we go and as we keep making these plans. Sorry, I got a little something stuck in my throat there. As we keep making these plans, basically, we don't really know what's going to happen, and we want to be supportive, and we need to do that the best way that we, as individuals and as showrunners, feel is necessary. So, after the chat that we had, Charlie and I kind of went off in our own little, 2-person chat and just kind of said like, let's just shut this down. Let's pivot. Let's have this conversation that you're literally hearing right now. Because like Charlie said, we worked all day and, haven't really chatted. We chatted for like 30 seconds before and said, let's just jump in and figure this out.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes and hearing behind the scenes right now. We don't know the exact direction that the show is going to take, but it won't be covering Ahsoka. So that's why this episode was kind of like
it's your bookend. It's your intermission. It's your intermission. Call it intermission. Right.
And I didn't want to not have anything and not address what's going on, because I think that's important. But this is about the only promotion or mention of Ahsoka that you're going to hear from this, and I don't think it's really a promotion at this point. We're going to have to pivot. We're going to have to do, basically for this show anyway, we're going to be covering comics, books, video games, characters that aren't associated with stuff that's going on right now directly, aside from stuff like maybe the original Thrawn trilogy that's not canon. If we start to cover some legend stuff, because that's basically what I'm reading now. Charlie, I know you mentioned some comic books. You mentioned some Shadows of the Empire stuff that we might be able to get into.
I could dig back into that. I'd love it, particularly since we're in, the summertime, which is when, I've talked about how very famously in the summer of 1996, that was the summer of Shadows of the Empire, the thing that gave us everything but the movie, the soundtrack, the video game, the books, the comics, the everything but a motion picture, and how glorious it was a year before, the reemergence of the Star Wars on the big screen with the special editions, which happened in early 1997, and then followed obviously by the prequels from there. But it was our last big rattle of something so amazing, and I just remember being so totally swept away by that. So we could even break that up, read half of, we could break it up into thirds, we could have reading homework, Mark, read the first, if it's a 300-page book, read 100 pages, read 75 pages, and we'll, so we'll turn it into some kind of book report or something. So we'll brainstorm, obviously we come out every other week. And so we've got some time to get that sorted, and God willing, this strike will end. It will be resolved. And the people that we care about, the people who bring us so much joy and entertainment and love, and people who are just human. They're just human beings. I mean, I have been privileged in the last couple of years, last several years, working cons with with our Star Trek chapter, the Grand Petoskey, and even before that, when I was just a civilian in cons, going on the Star Trek cruise, meeting so many of these actors, becoming friends with people like Doug Jones, spending time with Todd Stashwick, Jonathan Frakes, and the different Star Trek. They're just people, those. I was telling Mark before we got on the pre-roll, my wife April and I are leaving a week from this upcoming Sunday to drive across America. We chose to drive, not fly, because we wanted to see the Grand Canyon and visit Riverside, Iowa, the birthplace of James Kirk, and just basically enjoy some America, to Star Trek Las Vegas, which has 150 guests, including Kay and Missy, our own partners who are going to be delivering a panel on psychology and Star Trek. Of great personalities from both Star Trek and the Orville, which I try not to talk about because I'm not a fan, but I'm just very excited to be going there. And those people are there while there are certain things they can talk about, certain things they can't talk about. Again, they are there earning their living. Yeah. So I just have a lot of respect for that. And I hate to see them shackled to not being able to go back to work. So, as much as anything that we can do, I mean, Mark, we had a lot of ideas, but what are some things you think that listeners and people like you and me can do to support people going through this or the overall process without also being inviolate of the rules?
Yeah, so there's a few things. Basically, like, follow like Twitter or Threads or wherever you want to follow it, or the SAG website has some great stuff, and that's basically where I've been getting my information. I'm trying to find a link. There's like facts there. There's places you can go to support the actors and everything, and I'm trying to find that link. From Todd. You can buy merch. You can the SAG actually has a full media kit to download. If you search like SAG SAGAFTRAstrike.org. There's an influencer FAQ if you are, consider yourself an influencer in any kind of way. You can actually download like a full toolkit, social media, graphics and different things to use that way. There's a whole lot of stuff you can do, and there's support links too where you can donate money. And I think as SFU, I think we're gonna actually kind of donate to the Entertainment Community Fund.
Right. Yeah. No, I was telling April about that because that was Todd's idea, and she just nodded her head and said, "That's really great. Let's definitely do what we can to help those people because they're struggling." I mean, I don't work in a job that is union based. Mark, I don't know if you do, but Todd made mention.
I don't currently, but
yeah. Todd made mention of the fact that his dad was a GM man. He was a tool and die man in Flint, Michigan. His mom was a nurse, obviously part of a union there. Sounds like his wife is also part of a union. So, unions built this country one way or the other, giving, collective bargaining, giving workers rights, creating, the 8-hour workday, the 5-day, or the 8-hour workday, the 5 days a week, making sure that people could have homes and food and be able to raise their families. I don't want to get on too much of a soapbox here. Again, I've never belonged to a union nor really had a family member who was a part of one, but I see the value in it. And I see and I think about what these actors are going through and seeing, a huge part of their income, which would be the residuals from projects that they've been a part of, just being dried up by greedy corporations, which is it's just not cool. I mean, it's the plot of any, supervillain movie. It's Dr. Doom as the head of a corporation. You know what I mean? So yeah, we will do everything that we can above and beyond offering our support to to back up the people who need to be able to take care of living, and the people who give us so much. I mean, my God, just it's important. It's important.
Definitely. It's good to be able to support in any kind of small way. And again, like Ali said, we don't want to cross any, picket line kind of thing, even kind of symbolically from a small podcast kind of standpoint. Right. So I think we're going to kind of leave it at that. But I do want to leave it at a very important part. And that is, once again, we're not sure exactly what the next few weeks will cover because we've had it planned out for 3 episodes leading up to the show and then covering the show. So we've had a whole big chunk of time kind of scheduled. And if this thing isn't, and I'm hoping it is, but if it isn't resolved, we have to come up with some ideas. But as our listeners, we want to hear your ideas. What can we talk about that's not a show or a movie in Star Wars? And this can be anything from your favorite Legends characters from books, comics, concepts like lightsabers, or diving into the Force, our favorite starships, which is something I don't think we've covered.
Yeah, no, that's always so much more of a Star Trek thing than you don't necessarily think
helmets,
about it in Star
armor,
Wars. Yeah,
whatever it is, right? As long as it's not kind of promoting a show exactly, or a movie or something, I think we can kind of play with those. And again, this is something that we're still learning a lot about, especially from a cosplay perspective. And I know, Charlie, you're you and like Jen especially more involved in that than I am, especially with specific characters. I kind of been dabbling in my own little like original Star Wars character kind of thing, but nothing major, and definitely nothing that I think would cross that line. But I'll probably be holding back on even that. Aside, I might do some lightsaber stuff, but on videos and that kind of thing. But dialing back. But yeah, we want to hear from you, our listeners, our Patreon supporters, whoever's listening right now. Let us know what you want to hear. Let us know what you want to see, and we're going to try to compensate, or try to lean into those kind of ideas, because quite frankly, we still want this show to go on, and we still want to provide entertaining content.
Yeah.
And we don't want to cross any kind of picket lines or step on any toes that we'd rather support. So
true.
Let us know. Let us know on Twitter, or Discord is probably the best place to reach all of us.
Yep.
Charlie, where can people find you?
I am over on Twitter at the C3. Go ahead and spell it out. As I always mention, my wife April and I do run the USS Grand Petoskey, one of the largest chapters of Starfleet, the international Star Trek fan club in the world. We are based here in West Michigan, but I actually run Region 13, which is Michigan and Eastern Canada. If you're a Trekker in the sound of my voice and would like to meet other Trekkers in your neighborhood, please go ahead and drop us a line at those socials or the website of the same name. Mark.
Yeah, you can find me everywhere as _Canardian. I am not as active on Twitter as I used to be, but I still check it a couple of times a week just to see if anyone's tagged me or anything like that in anything important, or just to drop in and see what's going on. But I am more active over on Instagram and Threads, and again, the same handle over that way. And of course, like I said, our Discord is always a great place to
the one.
Get all of us and focus your attention in Star Wars or any of the other topics that happen there. So thank you for listening so much, and let us know your ideas.
You better believe it. Okay, friends. I won't do. I don't want to overextend by doing a regular outro, but I will say, as always, thanks for joining us. Sharing is caring, and keep on trucking.
May the Force be with you. Rex, play us out. I think I can still promote Rex. He's a droid at a Disney park.
And I'm just going to say solidarity.
Solidarity. This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow at Secret Friends U on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.